I know some people at the back, and I've got 3 seats in the front, and if there are chairs at the side, please take a seat. And then, Mushi, if you could please just tell me who will be taking the roving mic for questions. Relay, are you going to do it? Okay. Thank you very much. I want to thank all the staff for their assistance for getting tonight ready. And once again, thank you very much for attending this meeting. Public meetings are so important for us to be able to speak to one another. Last night at the Durbanville Police Forum, I see several of the Neighbourhood Watch chairs who were at last night's meeting here tonight. Just indicates what a dedicated community we have. And it's the residents who make a difference in our community. Because I firmly believe that we create the community we wish to live in. So now that COVID has passed and the province no longer uses the town hall for the COVID vaccination project, I will be able to utilize this as well as the other venues, and we will have these engagements. So I think we've arrived at the moment you've all been waiting for us to ask the questions, the pressing questions. So if I can have a show of hands, I'm going to start on the left. And when the microphone comes to you, if you could just identify yourself, your name, and if it's an individual or an organization. And Mayor, would you like 1 or 3 questions at a time? 3 questions, and then, so thank you. And
hello. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Alderman Theresa. Allow me also to greet my ex-colleagues, JP Smith, Denise Robinson, who was pregnant. My name is Carol Durbanville. I'm an ex-city councillor. I'm also, yes, Chris, I'm here. I'm also an ex-member of the provincial parliament, but this evening, Mayor, I'm here to represent an organisation. And your talk this evening, both you and Alderman JP Smith, centred around crime, safety and security, and how you are doing your best to ensure that the city of Cape Town becomes a model city. I'm representing an organisation this evening who wants to make your work better, who wants to lift your hands and ensure that the city does exactly that. And I'm representing the Scouts of Durbanville. I'm going to use some of your own words, Mayor. You said we all have a sense of anxiety and concern for safety and security, but we also have an optimism for the future. That optimism rests among these scouts as they sit behind me. I'd like them to stand so that you can see who the former youth are who are going to assist you going forward. So my question this evening to you, and the basis of my question, Mayor and Alderman JP Smith, is not about security in the sense of crime, but security of tenure. These scouts have been in a facility for the past 58 years. Last year, October, if I could just give you a little bit of background, we had a meeting with Alderman Uys.
Alderman Durbanville, I'm familiar with the background.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I know the answer to your question, which I think you'll be quite pleased with. But let's just hear the other questions first, if that's okay. And then if you're not satisfied, you can ask a follow-up. Is that right?
It's
yes. About the security of tenure, about the facility.
Correct.
I'm very familiar with the
It's
issue.
about to end. It was about to end, Mayor. I was just going to say, on your very page you say, progress is possible together. I hope that you will be able to give them some progress together in a situation that will suit them in the best. And And on a lighter note, Alderman JP Smith, please don't put them out based on the Fire Act. They did not invade the lake for the past 58 years. Thank you.
They really are.
The hands on the left-hand side, we're going to take the left. Okay, thank you. Second question, Mr. Stuart Robinson, and then, sir, yeah, number 2.
Stuart Robinson. For the Mayor Geordin, how is the city financing the mega projects, particularly the projects that are outside the limit or outside what local government normally does, the water and the electricity, the megawatts? If I may, another question, in terms of the recent census, how is that likely to affect the city of Cape Town and its equitable share of income or revenue from the national government? Given my understanding that it wasn't done particularly well in Cape Town. Thank you.
Hi, goedendag iedereen. Mijn naam is Theresa Uys, ik is member van de MDI. Ik wil zelf welkom Alderman Smith, Alderman Uys en Alderman Geordin, familie. Onze begint van Mr. Familie. Mijn vraag aan jullie is, ik begin aan hoe die Morningstar dankzij van die behuisingsproject van die Morningstar. Ons mensen benodig graag bij huizen, daar zo kan bij dankzij, maar ons mensen hoort hier achter zich in de zand te krijgen. Ons mensen, dus wij zijn project is in Morningstar geweest. Maar die mensen van Morningstar hier achter zich gaan als die tomaten gaan gooien. Nou, hier ben ik zand te krijgen, wel die mensen van Morningstar daarheen. Nou wil ik graag vragen, wat is hier kunnen maken met huis dat gewoon met alleen bij dankzij. Dat is wat mij doen.
Okay, Alderman Durbanville, thank you for the question. And to your Scouts group as well, and to all the volunteers and parents and Scout masters, troop masters that who run that. Thanks for the contribution that you make in the community. And let me say, I hope I can allay your fears or assuage your anxiety somewhat this evening. And I must give credit to Theresa Uys for really sorting this out. In the city, there's a group of people who very diligently go about looking for opportunities for land which is available to the city for possible disposal, for human settlements, and so on. And they scour the city up and down, and we've got tens of thousands of pieces of land, and most of them very small pieces of land all around the city, from tiny little parking lots to bigger, slightly bigger pieces of land. We don't really have the enormous tracts of land that, for example, Aisterport Air Force Base or Wingfield or Youngsfield or so on. We don't have pieces of land like that, but we have a lot of small pieces of land. And so there's a very diligent group of people who go around and look at all of those, and they say, well, here's this enormous piece of land, and there's a little scout hall in one corner, maybe this is a suitable piece of land. And then it goes through a process inside the administration, and it pops out in a newspaper advert, which is where I think the hullabaloo comes from. And then you hear about it for the first time. And so I know that the Scouts have been anxious about this because I think it came out in March or April, if I remember correctly. And Theresa was onto us like a flash and called a meeting way back in probably around April, maybe May. I can't remember exactly. I can check. And said we've got to protect the Scouts facility. And I thought that the matter was closed then, frankly. And then I saw on WhatsApp there's an advert that's been going around from the 26th of August. And I checked today. I received it last night on WhatsApp for the first time. It's probably been going around for weeks. I checked today as to why that went out in the August on the 26th of August, and it went out with a list of other properties which are being disposed, and somehow the message didn't quite get through that this is no longer on the list, and therefore it was included in that advert as well. But that was basically just an administrative error. But in the short term, in the short to medium term, there's really nothing to worry about. The property has been removed from our sale list. It is not being sold anytime soon. There is going to be a discussion facilitated by Theresa with a number of the Scouts properties in the area to look at which ones are still absolutely necessary and which ones may be considered surplus to requirements in the years ahead. But for your current anxiety, for that property, I forget the exact address now, but the one that you're talking about, I know it well, there's no plan to sell it. It was included in the August advert you wrote. Okay? Any follow-up on that? Stewards, we apply different financing models to different kinds of projects. Where we are doing power projects, the load shedding projects, those are big projects, you're right. Those are what we call off-balance sheet projects. They're not being funded by us, they're funded by the private sector, they're funded by investors essentially. And we agreed to purchase power from them for X number of years at X price, and that's how they recoup their capital costs and their investments. That's different in the water space, although actually theoretically it doesn't need to be any different. It's just, again, one of these unique features of South African government, that government has mainly done water infrastructure and not the private sector. And it doesn't always have to be like that in the future. But at the moment, the new water projects are being funded by ourselves, and we either fund it internally with our capital replacement reserve, our capital reserve, or we go to the market and we raise the finance and then amortize the cost with the revenue raised from that service, in this case water. And all of the others, the major public transport project, that's an 8 billion rand project. That is funded by a direct public transport grant from the National Treasury. Very, very big grant, probably one of the bigger grants, infrastructure grants in South Africa at the moment. The other pipe replacements, wastewater treatment work upgrades, sewer pump station upgrades, all funded internally from our own funds. So that's how we do it. In census, it's a great question. Most people probably don't know what the equitable share is that Stuart's referring to. We receive most of our funding from ratepayers, from service charges and property rates. But we also do receive quite a big chunk of our funding from what is called the equitable share grant, which is essentially a central government allocation to every province and city in the country based on primarily how many people live in your city. So the census data is essential, and that's why we sent out those radio adverts and SMSs saying, please don't send the guy away when they come and knock on your door for census. We need that, that's critical. But it's not only numbers of people, it's also how many people in that population are classified as living in poverty. That's a big part of the equitable share, is the poverty population. How many are unemployed? How many require public transport, and so on. And so there are these factors that go into the equitable share equation. But a big chunk of it is population numbers. And so I have to believe, Stuart, that we are going to get a good deal out of the new census. Because if it has been done at all properly, it will show that the Cape Town population has grown dramatically since the 2011 census, in the last 11 years, and that we must therefore get a much bigger allocation of equitable share. Frankly, if it shows any other result, it will be serious reason to question that result. Because all of us understand that between us and Joburg, we are the biggest recipients of internal migrants in the country, and both of our populations have grown dramatically over the last 10 years, and that must be reflected in the census results and therefore also in the equitable share grant. If there's any other result, I would really consider cause for challenging that methodology and that result, because it would not be fair to us. afraid I'm going to defer on Morningstar. Who wants to answer that? Gerrit?
Right, so good evening everybody. Maybe I must just go there. No, stay here, that's too tall. Yes, the Morningstar housing issue, I think you're referring to the old dump site, the old drop-off site really. So at the moment, the decommissioning certificate is still awaited. So there cannot be any developments up till the time where we have received the decommissioning certificate. Only then there will be public participation again. The latest that we had about 4 years ago was that only a small part of that site can be utilised for housing. Okay, well that saves one. So, good, but I'm going to use a bit of English lingo because the drop-off site is a drop-off site. Goed, so dit kom daarop neer dat net 'n klein gedeelte van die drop-off site vir behuising gebruik sou kon word. Daar was verskeie ondersoeke gewees, 2 uiteenlopende opinies. In kort kom dit daarop neer dat die beskikbare stuk grond wat wel ontwikkelbaar was nie ekonomies vatbaar om infrastruktuur in te sit, strate te bou, elektrisiteit, al die ondergrondse infrastruktuur vir net 10 of 12 strukture. Daar was 'n proses gewees om uit te gaan in die publieke omgewing om vas te stel of daar 'n private ontwikkelaar is wat dalk sou kon belangstel. Maar ek kan nie verseker, saam met Raadslid Uys wat nou die raadsheer is, wat nou die wijkraad is, dat ons aanhoudend soek vir ook areas waar die sogenaamde gap housing sal kan ontwikkel. Maar dan is daar ook 'n uitdaging. Nasionaal was daar 'n beginselbesluit gewees dat topstrukture nie meer befonds kan word tot verder kennisgewing. So dit het weer 'n sekondêre effek dat alhoewel ons dan grond identifiseer, daar nie 'n nasionale geld beskikbaar gaan kom om die sogenaamde HSDG funding beskikbaar te stel vir topstrukture. Maar wees verseker dat sodra ons die sertifikaat ontvang, dat daar 'n publieke deelname sal wees wat uiteraard Morningstar sal insluit. Ek sien Shake my ou vriend se ook hier in Joburg net ek het nou vergeet, maar die jare het 'n bietjie minder geraak, ek weet nie wat gebeur het. Maar dit is reg.
Baie dankie. Ek sien 'n vreeslike hande gewys. Ek gaan eers al kom toe voor ek terugkom. Nee, ek sal dit nie vergeet nie. Meneer, kan jy hard praat of moet ons 'n mikrofoon bring?
Mikrofoon asseblief.
'n Mikrofoon moet toe asseblief. En meneer wat daar staan, dan wil ek ook sê, ek vra dat die organisasies, as jy aan die hoof staan of aan die bestuur van 'n organisasie staan, kontak asseblief die sitraad om te registreer op die databasis, want sodoende ontvang jy al die kennisgewing en inligting in verband met die plaaslike items wat hanteer word deur die sitraad. Jy sal ook dan kennisgewing kry en die geleentheid kry om dan insette te lewer, want publieke deelname is baie belangrik. Ek het verskeie van die wijkskomitee-lede hierso, meneer Smith, meneer John Besuidnout en Magda van die buurtwag, wat al, ek dink julle is julle tweede termyn op my wijkskomitee, en baie dankie vir julle bereidwilligheid om daarop te dien. Goed, dankie.
Is hy aan? Ja, is aan. Geagte burgemeester en raadslede, baie dankie vir julle tyd. Ons waardeer dit in Durbanville. Ek is taamlik bekommerd omdat ek as veldwerker van Sensus Suid-Afrika, of Statistiek Suid-Afrika met die sensus van jaar eerstehands beleef het dat die sensus in die stad Kaapstad uiters en skokkend swak hanteer is. Van die 5 buurte, laat ek dit so stel, in my area waar ek 'n veldwerker was die gemiddelde hoeveelheid veldwerkers wat aangestel is, 1 uit 5. Dit beteken vir elke 5 oop areas wat ingedeel is, het slegs 1 area 'n veldwerker ontvang. Is julle van mening dat hier 'n sabotasie aan die gang was, of is dit maar net nasionale onbeholpenheid van die ANC-regering? En tweedens, is julle gemagtig om die sensus in die Weskaap te kan laat klassifiseer as onwaardig en dit weer te doen, met die uitsondering van die huise wat reeds gedoen is? Is dit 'n DA-kwessie, is dit die stad Kaapstad kwessie, en kan dit op nasionale vlak, of deur Statistiek Suid-Afrika, of deur die ANC, van hulle magte af gedwarsboom word? Want ek is uiters bekommerd dat die Statistiek Suid-Afrika het sy met moedswilligheid of deur onbeholpenheid selfsabotasie gepleeg het, of en selfdestruktief was. Want selfs ek, as ook my area distrikbestuurderes, het bedank voor die tyd, omdat hulle nie bereidwillig was om ons pad makliker te maak om die sensus te behartig nie, en het gemaak dat ons gevoel het asof nie net word ons aan ons eie lot oorgelaat nie, maar ons word verwag om klippe te kou in 'n situasie waar nie die publiek ons werk moeilik maak nie, maar die werkgewer self. Dankie.
Dag sê, goeiedag sê, baie dankie vir die spreekbeurt. Goeienaand almal. So, vanaand verteenwoordig ek in die UI, in Morningstar, dit waaroor ek vanaand gaan praat is sport, education en culture. Dit is wat ek wil, dit is my punte wat ek wil beheerkom. So, iets wat ons allemaal besef, kan dit nie sagter as dit word nie. Oké, dankie maar hier, waar sê, gewoon dan met die so, oké. So, 'n groot ding wat opgekom het in almal se gesprekke, daar was gangsterisme. Nee, oké, dat is was gangsterisme. Dat is iets wat voorgekom het in almal se gesprekke. En gangsterisme is iets wat net oordag gebeur. En dit is soms wat ons vergeet, dat 'n gemeenskap is Morningstar, wat nog steeds, als ons nog steeds afdefect het van apartheid. Van wat gebeur het, maar ek gaan een voorbeeld maak, ek was boonvriend, wat my opa was. So my opa gaan nog steeds sy selle haat het wat hy gehad het, maar ek het nie. So dit is iets wat oor nacht kan verander. Nou, laat ek op my punt kom, wat gangsterisme. Die probleem is sosiale development in Morningstar self. Ons kinders het die voorregte om niks te doen nie. Daar is nie sport vir hulle nie, so hoekom moet hulle op die school wees, as daar nie sport vir hulle is? Daar is niks vir om te doen nie, dat in Morningstar oomlik vir die jeug, is daar nie sokker nie. Ons is straks bezig, ek is straks bezig om te werk, met die NPC, waar ons die sport wil develop, want dit is nog nie aan nie. Daar is nie netbal vir die meisies nie. Daar is nie, die sooipad faciliteite wat ons het, word nie meer gebruik. So wat moet die kinders doen na school? En nog een goeie voorbeeld is die skateboardpark wat daar is. Dit is 'n 100% vorm van vandalisme. Because volgens wet mag mense iets bou op government property. Verstaan? So hoekom word daai nie afgegooi en hoekom word daar nie 'n netbalveld vir ons meisies gebou nie? So wat gebeur meisies dat te doen nie? Hulle moet swanger raak en dan sit ons met huis te bestuur. Want dit is seker nie klein. Almal verstaan nie altyd, because almal word nie geraak uit die situasie. As ons kom met education, jammer dat ek bepaald op die smaak is, jammer ook. Bijvoorbeeld ons het 'n publieke library, wat ons kan gebruik, want ons kinders moet op dorp toe gaan, ons straat te doen. Ek kan nie 'n 10-jarige kind alleen huiswerk gaan dat doen by 'n biblioteek, because dit is onfair vir die kind. En die ouers sê om die kinders te vat, because ons moet werk vir kos. As ons koop met kos, weet jy hoe moeilik is dit om huiswerk te doen op 'n leë maag? Die kind kom van die skool af, die kind, ek kan baie van dit wat hy sê. Die kind kom van die skool af, dit is om te eet nie. Wanneer die kind gaan speel, dis al wat die kind het, food schemes, kan ons aan werk, dan kultuur. Wanneer laat het ons uit Bonningstad iemand gekry wat 'n danser is, 'n singer, goed soos dit kom jy uit die, want die opportunity is nie daar vir hulle om het te vat nie. Hulle moet na buite plekke na toe gaan om het te kry. Gelukkig was ek in 'n bevoordeelde posisie waar ek kuns gaan studeer het, waar ek op 'n skool was wat vir my kanse gee het om te kan sing, rugby te kan speel, te kan ek alles kan doen. En dit is wat ek by liefde vir iets gekry het. En dis wat dissipline kom. Die kinders het nie dissipline nie, because hulle word nie gedisiplineer deur sport nie, of deur enigiets soos dit nie. So my groot ding is, kan ons asseblief net weet dat die gangster is 'n probleem wat ons het, gaan nie oor nag verander, maar kan met tyd verander. Kom ons hou die gangsters wat ons sê van môre, kom ons hou hulle besig met iets groter, dan kan dit almal se werk maak. Baie dankie.
te verteenwoordig, want dit is deel van Durbanville. Ek is vreeslik aktief en ek weet presies waarvan jy praat, meneer. Ek was hierdie week gewees so relay help by Dinsdag om te kyk wat gebeur om die skool gedurende 'n pouse. Ek is baie in Morningstar want die mense sien my daar. Toe staan 'n jong man en vader weet hoekom rasterye wortel teen die skoolhuis. Ek stop en sê meneer, hoekom doen jy dit? En toe kom dadelik die groepie gangsters en wil my intimideer. Toe sê die antie van die government wat so ken, nee. Maar as gevolg daarvan het ek nou die minister gekontak om te sê, hoekom doen die personeel nie diens gedurende pouse op die speelgrond soos wat hulle behoort te doen nie, om te voorkom dat die kinders by die heining met hierdie kwaai jongens praat. Ons het die ballots wat verf op die speelterrein en ek kan vir julle alles sê, die swembad gaan later oopmaak. Die portefeuljevoorsitter vir die dienste is ook hierso, so sy kan beamoen wat ek sê. Die oorsprong van die probleem is die water wat van die skool afspoel. Dan swem dit, dan gaan dit deur die muur in die swembad in en beskadig in die swembad. So ons het nou herhaaldelik dit probeer herstel. So ons het nou uitgereik na die onderwysdepartement om daai waterprobleem saam met hulle aan te pak sodat die swembad vir die beskikking van die inwoners is, want dit is wat gebeur. Dan die muur by die swembad, die muur by die speelgrond. Ons het nou kunstenaars gekry, ons gaan dit pragtige graffiti mooi verf, murals, sodat dit 'n positiewe ding doen. Ons het al youth activities gehad, Terrence van die stad se maatskaplike ontwikkeling, maar is dit genoeg? Nee. Is daar 'n probleem? Ja. En dit is hoekom my fokuspunt is om al die sportkodes om 'n tafel te kry, soos wat ek met die rugbyklub gedoen het ook, is dat ons daardie ontwikkel. En jy is korrek. Ek sien nie die voorsitter van die Morningstar rugbyklub nie, maar in elk geval, ek het vir hom gevra, sal hulle dit goed dink as ons die skateboardpark in Netbalbaan maak, want Alpha primêr het nie 'n netbal. Toe sê hulle ja, want ek stem met jou saam, het gaan 'n baie meer positiewe, en ek het met die voorsitter gepraat, raadslid vir youth, so dit gebeur. Maar wat ek eintlik wil sê, ek het lees Staats Engels Afrikaans, which do you prefer? Okay, the most difficult thing for a councillor often, and the mayor will attest to this, is that in the process of trying to achieve what your residents ask from you, you often have to be silent and you absolutely want to just burst because you have a very strict code of conduct to adhere to. So I often would march in or write emails to my colleague Alderman Smith or to the chairperson or to the portfolio chairperson conveying what the community needs. And I think I've read all your articles of the wonderful work you're doing, and now that the Mayor has shared what we've actually been fighting for, I would actually like us to have outreach programs with the youth in Morning Star, because I know that Mess and Enrique Hermanes, who was at El Shaddai School, he had a robotics program and a chess club at Morning Star, and these are the cross collaborations that can really strengthen us. So I've got hopefully a Woman for Change. The library is a provincial mandate, so province runs libraries. I identified the need and thought it's unacceptable that a library is closed for so many years that was donated by the Shuttleworth Foundation. So now the Rotary is the sponsor, and we are starting with small groups, and I'm getting ladies to volunteer for reading classes. And I have to go there to see, is it happening? So we will grow on that. We can take this conversation, I will come to you, you can also have written, and we will proceed there. Radzie.
Dankie dat u dat is sien die mense wat hier is, die kinders, hulle is Afrikaners, hulle is Suid-Afrikaners, ons is loyale mense, en dit wil ook graag 'n lewe lei wat ons die probleme en ons die klein probleemies, wat eintlik groot probleme word nagaan. En daar is so baie van die dinge wat ons gesels het vanaand, byvoorbeeld. Wat maar die ontwikkeling wat die kan gepraat wat nou almal kwaad gemaak het daar in die strate en by die scouts en allemaal van hulle as het bestaan al die mense. Ek dink die belangrike wat ons in 'n gemeenskap, dat ons erken die mense wat vir die stad wil help. Hulle wil help. Die voortrek is die Gulga, is die, daar is nie honderde van die mense en al die mense wat hier is. Dis deel van die stadse partnership, soos hulle sê in Engels. En ons moet daai mense ondersteun. Ons kan nie hulle werk vir hulle doen nie, maar hulle wil werk vir ons doen. So ons moet vir hulle basis gee waar hulle dit wil doen en hulle geniet het. En die wil dit groter maak, die wil dit probeer uitbrei. Ons praat van, JP praat van die strate en die goeders en so aan. Ons strate moet veilig word. Ek bly in die Willies. En Theresa weet van al die dinge. As jy, daar sprakkers daar onder, wat is die, wat het beteer? Tente nie, maar hulle mors, dis hulle van mors daar. Die ou oorkant, maak jy sy erfskoon nie, nou wil ons hond gevolg. Maar dan sê maar, wat van die klomp gemors aan die oorkant, by die oorkant die straat heen? Met ander ons moet kyk na die kleine dingetjies, dat ons nie ook dieselfde ding doen, is wat die goed wat ons mense wil mee wil gevolg het. So die ander ding is wat ook belangrik is. Jy weet, al die tentjies en goeders, waar kom die mense vandaan? Ek het seker nou wat die goeders gewerk, in Engeland byvoorbeeld, en ons het 'n studie genoem, ek het ook Theresa, soos sy raadse woord, dit gegee die studie en die KMR van straatmense, in diepte, en daar was al die oplossings, en al die goeders geweest. En die een punt wat daar deurkom, in elke land, en ek het baie lande geweest, is nou handouts. En hier in Durban is een van ons grootste probleme, is handouts. Ons is nie ongerustig dat ons dit sê nie, maar handouts help nie om jou probleme op te los nie. Die ander ding is, waar kom die straatmense vandaan? Burgemeester, ek het vir Santekraal gegaan, as die huise oorgegee word, nieuwe huise. Ek het vir Santekraal begin, dit is die eerste vir Santekraal. En so het hy nou uitgebrei en uitgebrei. Dan gee hulle die huise oor vir die mense daar. Dan staan die vreemdelinge daar, dan staan hulle met 5.000 rand in hulle hand, en die mense koop hulle die huis daar by hulle. En ons probleme te oplos. Nou wat word van die persoon wat uit sy huis het gaan, want hy het 5.000, dis arme mense, 5.000 vir hulle, daar is hom opgeld. Nou gaan hy uit, nou daar nie plek vir hom meer nie, hy kan nie meer 'n plakkesin kry nie, hy kan nie meer 'n huis kry nie. Nou kom hy, ja, nou is die mense, hulle gee van my goeders, ek gaan nou in Durbanville kom bly, daar kan die tentjie, daar kan die mense voorsien, slaapplek, ons moet daai klein plekkies aanspreek.
I'm only going to take the last two, Kim, and I can't see.
Thank you. Kim Clayton, Chairman, Durbanville Hockey Club. I wanted to actually speak to the gentleman from Morningstar with regards to discussing development opportunities for hockey for Morningstar. But Theo is from El Shaddai, and he's got something to add on to what was said there.
Good evening, Alderman Uys and JP and Mayor Lewis. Thank you for the great work that you are doing. Just want to start there. And I just want to represent tonight here El Shaddai Christian School. And just a little bit about the school. We are next to Morningside. And I believe ever since the school started, we have been involved in community work. And you know, we have Morningstar next to us. I know that the youth, interesting enough, on a Friday evening is joining our youth as well. And there's been a good program there to also incorporate the youth on a Friday night. And as a school, we have no facility yet for our hockey. So we don't have an Astro. And we knew that Durbanville Hockey Club also do not have an Astro. And so what we've done is we have given our intent and our partnership with Durbanville Hockey Club as a school to take hands and to actually have an Astro built on the Durbanville sports grounds. And we believe, you know, as our brother from Morningstar has mentioned there with the youth, and as Kim has just mentioned as well, it would actually create an opportunity for more sport for the youth and also for Morningstar and the surrounding community. When we go out for hockey to other places, yes?
I get the gist of your question. I don't want to be rude, but we only have the hall till 8 o'clock.
Okay, so my question just to conclude then is we have given our intent with the Durbanville Hockey Club. I know there's a process that started last year in July, and we just wanted to inquire, you know, what is the process from City of Cape Town to grant us the opportunity to build an Astro, and why the delay is taking so long? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I'll just give a brief background, not to the sport. I'm meeting with Kim, I think Kim on Monday. Yes, we have a Monday meeting. We have to finalize all the leases of the sport precinct before we can proceed with the way forward. And then the city has also been tasked to come with a plan on the maximum utilization of the space, and that's why I've been meeting with all the clubs. And thank you very much for the generous offer, because I also believe that sport is the way to change the community. So once the leases are completed, you can form a body, and Alderman Smith, prior to COVID, was actually involved in this process as well. And we actually appointed an official, Mr. Trevor Stein, to run the project, and he sadly passed away during the last year of the lockdown period. So we reappointed an official, and so the whole vision of that sport precinct will be developed. And I want to thank all the sporting bodies for the wonderful work they're doing and their upliftment projects. And while we are here, I also recognize Councillor Tulmani Kubeni from Santa Cruz as well, Ward 105. Thank you, sir, for your wonderful support. Jy het daar agterweg gekry. Because I know your Afrikaans. Yeah, so okay, so thank you. Do you want to answer?
Alright. Ons sê baie dankie vir jou remind me now who said this. Isn't Orwell who said never assign to conspiracy what can be better explained by incompetence? Is that Orwell? Anyone remember? I'm a big believer in that old saying. I don't think that it's a conspiracy. I think it's good old-fashioned national government incompetence. But the effect, of course, the effect is absolutely self-done. And the consequence is profound. Could be billions of rands lost to the city of Cape Town that are deservedly, rightfully out in terms of the formula. So I assure you that if there is any cause for concern in the results, we will not leave it there. We cannot possibly leave it there because the consequences are too dire. And that is why we were the only city and province that were doing our own radio ads, our own newspaper ads, our own WhatsApp. Ja, dit seker duisend keer gehoor asseblief voltooi die census products. And I really hope that the results are statistically defensible. We've got our own statisticians that work for the city. We will interrogate the results very carefully. We will plug them into the equitable share calculator, see what happens. And if there's any cause for concern, you can rest assured that we will take action almost immediately. Thank you very much for raising it and for sharing your own experience. And we may need to actually just get your name and number, because if it does, I hope that you'll be willing to say that what you said tonight in other forums as well. And I'd ask that someone just take the name and number, please. Then, Raadseer, Vredenand, baie dankie vir daai vraag. The Alderman makes an excellent point about recognizing helpers and partners. Theresa said that there are neighborhood watch chairpersons here. There are residents association chairpersons, I'm sure, ratepayers associations. Reading club, you spoke about some people volunteering to run reading clubs. And obviously we've got scouts, I'm sure there's Lions and Rotary and so on. There's so many organizations in the community that do a wonderful job. Cape Town would never be SAP victim support, I see on your jacket. Also probably volunteers, so exactly. Amazing. Cape Town would never be the place that it is without people being prepared to help out in the community. So thank you very much. We really do appreciate and understand the incredible contribution that you all make. And he's also absolutely right, the council is absolutely right on handouts. Folks, we have to understand, no one will camp in a place where it does not make financial sense for them to be. I should have recognized this as one of the people who are contributing AfriForum. They do an amazing job. An organization that has massive respect. No one will be in a place where it doesn't make sense for them to be because they are getting food or money. That's just the basic logic. So we understand that people, most of us are Christians. We want to be able to show compassion. That's absolutely right. I don't want to dissuade you from doing that. Please, hear me. We want to show compassion and care. But we can do it by giving to organizations that care for people in shelters, by getting them into addiction clinics, by getting them into psychiatric clinics, by doing assessments. Those are the places where we can show compassion and care. Please, I think that's a really, really important message. There's an organization, I don't know if there's anyone here from U-Turn tonight. I know that they're active here. No one from U-Turn? Is Bess here? Is Bess here? Okay, have you got your vouchers? I wish I could show you the mess vouchers. Has anyone got a mess voucher here? Please support this program. They've got the green vouchers that you can buy at most chemists, shops. You can buy them at the till, and you give the voucher to someone, and they have to go to a mess facility, a U-turn facility, a shelter, and clinic to make use of that voucher. Isn't that a great idea? I bought some myself. I really encourage you to make use of that kind of program. But then, the profit in klein voetjies is 100% correct as jy kom ons soveel tyd spandeer op die skoonmaak program. We call it Spring Clean Cape Town. And contributes to our sense of well-being. And the city manager and JP, Executive Director, for safety, said that we're not allowed to give our officers money, which we were very sad about. We wanted to give financial incentive. We can give you, by the way, we can give you rewards if you report illegal dumpers, so please do that. But we said that just a small thing, the officer that gets the most illegal dumpers in a month, we will take them for lunch ourselves to thank them for the service that they do for Cape Town. It's a very small thing, but the message gets around. Now, JP, we must check out of these 100 vehicles who's done the most, and we must make sure that they come to our next lunch piece. Yeah, we've already been doing it. We've been doing lunches every month, but now I want to make sure that the person who got these vehicles is at our next lunch. And then Reverend, is Reverend Theo? Yeah. Is he there? No, there he is. Okay. Oh, it's not Reverend, okay. That's all what okay. Alright, Theo, I think that's a reason to answer most of your question around the hockey felt, but obviously that's a very kind offer, and I think we must find a way to try and make that work as quickly as possible. And if you're prepared to make that contribution, then so be it. As long as it's, of course, available to the public as well, that it's not, it doesn't become an exclusive facility, that it's available to the public. Now, folks, I think that's most of the questions. We've got to be out in exactly 6 minutes, and but I'll stay around outside for a little bit longer to ask any last questions that you have, and I know that the councillors will. There's just a couple of people that I need to thank. Our councillors do an amazing job. Ladies and gentlemen, please consider the superb work that these councillors put into this, and this group of councillors in particular, this group of councillors are among the best in the city of Cape Town, and I know how tough their job is, and I want to thank each one of them. I'm just looking at them, all of them in their eyes, and say thank you very much, and you can be very, very glad that you have Theresa Uys as a ward councillor. She is among a constellation of superstars, one of the very brightest. And then, of course, I see some of our City of Cape Town team members here, our officials, very hard-working officials, who really do deliver the goods time and time again. We are very grateful for your service to the city, our Metro Police and law enforcement officers. Folks, these guys face the danger on our behalf every day. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you very much. Someday soon you can escape traipsing with me to public meetings and spend some time with your families. Folks, safe travels. Thank you very much.